going to take a look at Thurston Ave, A104. We're going to see how to find information about how a building is constructed. We're going to primarily focus on this A9, A250 or 353 page number of a cross section that goes through the building. That cross section starts outside the building, travels through the exterior wall, partway to the inside, and terminates here. So this little block shows where the termination is. So let's go look at page A353, cross section A9. So A353 states that it's a building wall section. So we're going to find a bunch of sections on this page, and as you can see, there's more than one. We're going to focus primarily on A9, which is a building B and C section at East Gable. So it tells us specifically where this is, and it's specific to the building that we're looking at, as well as the other building B and C. If I work my way up, we can see a lot of structure happening here. Primarily want to focus on a couple of things here. First, masonry, flashing, and weeps. And weep is not something that the building does. Buildings don't cry. A weep is if water infiltrates into the wall and works its way behind the brick, it has a way to get out, and that's what the weep does. Here's our hand model showing us a weep hole. If we work our way up through here, you're going to find some labels: EWT1B, EWT1C. If I work my way up, I find an EWT3, I find an FS1. And these refer to some specific things in our print and tell us how to build things. But if we don't know how to read this language, it's going to be really tough to figure out. So let's take a look at that. So what we've done is we've come back here to A001, which are wall types, room finish schedule, and details. And we're primarily going to look at our details today. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see what this page looks like. And if I start up here, this is labeled EWT1A. I go down a little bit. Here's EWT1B, EWT1C, EWT number 2, and EWT number 3. And we've mentioned those on a previous drawing. I'm going to start here. We're going to take first look at this 5/16 fiber cement board. This is a sheet product in this case, similar to like plywood, but it's made out of a fiber-filled concrete panel, which is extremely durable and requires very little maintenance. So this is what fiber cement board looks like. It's a rigid board that requires very little maintenance. Inside that, and remember this is outside the building to inside the building, inside that is a 3/4 inch wood furring called rain screen. What that is a structural member that gives rigidity to our where we can affix our fiber cement board. So what that is the rain screen is driven through this, which is the ICF filled with concrete. ICF is insulated concrete form. It's a styrofoam form that's held together, one on each piece of styrofoam on each side, held together with either plastic or wire on the inside, and we fill it full of concrete. And it makes for an insulated foundation. This is what ICF looks like, insulated concrete form. You can see the styrofoam on the outside and the rigid structure on the inside. When put together like a giant Lego brick, this foundation is ready for concrete. With that styrofoam there's no way to attach this fiber cement board directly to the building because there's this fiberglass or this styrofoam insulation's in the way. So we put in this rain screen to allow structural support for this fiber cement board. If I continue up through, here's a continuous weather barrier. That continuous weather barrier refers to something like Tyvek. You'll see that on buildings. It's a white fabric that goes on the outside of a building that wraps the building. This is an example of a house wrapped in Tyvek, which is a continuous weather barrier material. You'll see that there's a trim board which breaks up the outline of our building, and then the 5/8 gypsum board goes on the very inside of the building, and that's sheetrock on the inside. If I move down a little bit, here's another section. This is EWT2, and you'll notice again that our label is always below the drawing. But you'll see that there's 1/2 inch sheeting on the outside. You'll see that there's 2.5 inch rigid insulation. You'll see that there's a continuous vapor barrier. And this rigid insulation is a styrofoam product similar to a styrofoam cup. And it does a really good job of insulating. This is an example of rigid foam insulation. We have a vapor retarder on the inside that's typically plastic. We can see our brick facing out here. And we can also see that we have gypsum on the inside. So there's a little bit about how our structure is put together.